Captain's log, stardate 6947.4. The Enterprise is at station keeping alongside the USS Yorktown to embark Federation Senior Historian Charles Attenborough to accompany us as an expert consultant during our investigation of an alien satellite just discovered orbiting planet Sigma Draconis 6. We are also conducting some crew exchange with the Yorktown. That's the last of the crew transfers. Yorktown signals that Professor Attenborough is ready to transport. Very well, Mr. Kyle. Energize. Welcome aboard the Enterprise, Professor Attenborough. Flint? Where's Professor Attenborough?
Hello, Captain. I am Attenborough.
I see. Just as you were Da Vinci and Brahms.
Yes. As you know, I made my identity known when I came back to Earth 2 years ago. However, my notoriety was too great. I'm a private man. I had returned to Earth to help the Federation with its study of history, Captain, not to become a figure of public curiosity and intrusive scrutiny.
Of course. And so?
With the blessing of the Federation Council, I assumed the peacefully mundane identity of Federation historian Attenborough. You may still call me Flint if you wish.
Welcome aboard, Mr. Flint. May I introduce Lieutenant Paul Erickson, my archaeology and anthropology officer.
My God, it is you! I attended a lecture you gave at Roddenberry Center. It was amazing! Mr. Flint, you are history. I have a million questions, sir.
Erickson here will be at your disposal throughout your stay aboard. He'll help you with anything you might need.
Thank you, Captain.
Lieutenant, show our esteemed guest to his quarters, and let's keep it to only 1,000 questions, shall we?
Of course, sir.
Bridge, this is the captain. Bridge, Spock here. Mr. Spock, signal to Yorktown that we're leaving. Set a course for the Sigma Draconis system. Warp factor 6.
Acknowledged.
Captain's personal log. We are en route to the Sigma Draconis system. The Federation historian joining us on this mission is in fact Flint the Immortal. Records show he has been very helpful to Federation historians, which is not surprising considering that he has known, or has been, some of the most important and influential people in Earth's history. We still don't have a complete list of all the people he has been. In the short 2 years that he has been back on Earth, he has written or co-written 47 books on the history of Earth and its colonization of the solar system. I have some misgivings about him being on his mission, but there is no denying that he is more than qualified as an expert on ancient civilizations.
Paganini, Brahms. As far as music is concerned, Mr. Flint, were you only active in the classical period?
Only classical music, Doctor? I wouldn't call big band music classical.
Big band music? Jazz?
As Glenn Miller, I appreciated the freedom, unpredictability, and emotion of jazz. The abandon.
That was the 1920s.
Late 1930s is more like it.
1923 to 1944.
Only 20 years? Why such a short time?
Why will have to remain my secret, Doctor, I'm afraid. However brief, I was pleased that my band brought so much happiness to my audiences.
Happiness? But wasn't the whole country in the grips of the Great Depression? You were there, Mr. Flint. Would you say that financial hardship or fear of impending world war affected the mood of the people more as when...
Maybe you can lay off the questions for a while, Paul. Mr. Flint, I'm sorry if...
That's quite all right, Doctor. I find his youth and enthusiasm refreshing. You must understand that while I've lived over 100 lifetimes, I was only ever young once. We were talking about music from a long time ago.
I'm also interested in history. Music history. Mr. Flint, would you consider giving a brief concert here on the ship? As brief or as long as you'd like. Share your unique understanding of the history of music. Your music.
Oh, yes, sir. The crew would love it.
Well, I'm not sure. Captain?
It's fine with me, Maestro.
The answer is yes. It's the least I can do to show my appreciation for allowing me to take part in this mission. Captain, your first visit to the Sigma Draconis system was somewhat strange.
Yes, quite unusual.
What were your impressions of the planet?
Well, Mr. Flint, it was a race against time. Commander Spock's life was at stake. Our efforts were directed solely at finding Spock's brain and those responsible for its removal. We had little time to study their culture.
Of course. Mr. Spock, any trepidations about returning there?
Trepidation would be a human emotion. I associate no such bad feelings with that star system. It was simply the site of a very unfortunate set of circumstances.
Poppycock, you're trying to tell us that nothing about Sigma Draconis 6 makes that green ice water you call blood run even colder?
Please, Doctor, spare us your constant display of sophomoric gibberings, and kindly confine your lack of sophistication to mere medical matters.
You may convince them, Spock, but I know better. So when we reach the system, try not to lose your head. Again. Bridge to Captain Kirk.
Kirk here, Lieutenant.
Hourly status report, Captain. We are on course for Sigma Draconis 6. ETA now, 13 hours, 27 minutes. All systems show green.
Very well. Thank you, Mr. Eriks. Kirk out. We'll be arriving at that space station early tomorrow morning.
I am looking forward to seeing what kind of satellite could be orbiting that once technologically advanced planet.
The rudimentary sensors on board the transport ship Deirdre that noticed it 2 days ago could only say that it didn't match any known configuration, and that it wasn't there when they passed by 3 days earlier.
Either it's a very new object recently placed there by someone,
Or it is a very old station that is just now detectable.
If it was built by the very technologically advanced ancestors of the Imorgs that you encountered on Stardate 5431,
There may be much to learn from a study of its systems.
It makes for quite a mystery.
Well, here's to mysteries.
Thank you. Let's jump ahead about a century, shall we?
Helm, status.
Captain, we're just now approaching Sigma Draconis system.
Very well. Report, Mr. Kyle.
Sensors indicating 9 planets. Long-range scans detect an artificial body in synchronous orbit of Planet 6.
Is the construct powered?
Yes, sir. Sensors confirm that it is under power, but no other details are available until we are closer.
Thank you, Mr. Kyle. ETA to 6th planet, Mr. Walking Bear.
4 hours, 27 minutes.
Very well. Continue on course for Sigma Draconis 6 and establish standard orbit upon arrival. Mr. Kyle, you have the con.
Aye, sir.
That was remarkable, Mr. Flint. Thank you.
You're welcome, Captain. Frankly, I had forgotten how wonderful it was to perform.
We arrive at Sigma Draconis 6 in just over 4 hours. We'll be beaming over tomorrow morning. Stardate 6948.1.
We will be ready, Captain.
I look forward to it.
Captain's log, Stardate 6948.1. We have arrived at Sigma Draconis 6 and have established the same orbit around the planet as the alien construct. Mr. Spock's sensors have determined that the structure is a small space station with an internal arrangement designed around humanoid operators. No signs of life. The station is under power, but life support and gravity are not in effect. I have ordered an away team be beamed over to investigate.
All preparations have been made, Captain.
Very well. Landing party, take your places.
Sir, the station's energy system is damaged. It's giving off theta radiation. It'll pose no problem to us or the transporter. It'll be the devil to the warp drive alignment if we stay this close.
Captain to bridge.
Sulu here.
Mr. Sulu, once we've transported over, take the Enterprise to a higher station-keeping orbit by the satellite. Maintain no closer than...
100,000 kilometers ought to be far enough away.
Did you get that?
Aye, sir. 100,000 kilometers.
Very well. Crook out. All right. That station is a complete unknown. Be alert and careful. And all of you be ready. There's no gravity over there.
Wonderful. I love zero gravity. Captain, sensors indicate that the station does have an artificial gravity system, but it's not functioning. Hopefully I can get it working again in short order.
Activate life support belts. Okay, Mr. Kyle. Energize.
Whoa, what the? I hate space travel.
Illogical, Doctor.
Much of early space exploration was exactly like this.
Wow! Will you look at this place? This place is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Aye, it surely is impressive.
Yes. These consoles seem to be operational. Spread out. We want to learn what this thing is all about.
I'll try to locate the station's environmental control systems.
The architectural design in evidence is the same as that of the Imor complex on the planet below.
Yes. Perhaps the same race designed them both. Bones, scan for radiation. Are we in any danger?
Scanning. No radiation whatsoever. The interior is perfectly shielded.
Good.
Astounding, in fact. Captain, the technology employed in the station's environmental shields blocks everything, even cosmic rays.
Cosmic rays? But that's impossible.
Commander Spock, Mr. Flint, look at this. These are the same symbols that were seen in the Imorg underground complex.
Yes, the same language, in fact. Little syntactic variation. I would say that this station was built at approximately the same time as the underground complex.
Mr. Flint, how are you familiar with that language?
I reviewed all of your logs from your mission. And I am somewhat of a quick study. I wish to be prepared for this assignment. Plus, their language is very reminiscent of ancient Aramaic.
Captain, I found the artificial gravity controls. Brace yourselves, everyone. I'm restoring the gravity. Now. First we float around, then we drop on the deck. What's next? Well, at least we can walk around now. All the comforts of home. By the way, Mr. Flint, where do you call home these days?
Home.
Mr. Flint, how long had it been since you were home?
Home. I hadn't been back since I left a few years before the Third World War. Say, 220 years?
Apart from writing history books and giving lectures and concerts, what else have you been doing on Earth?
Doing? Traveling. Remembering. Visiting old houses. Walking down ancient streets. Seeing relatives.
Relatives?
Well, descendants, let's say. There are quite a few. Mostly distant relatives. I had lived on Earth for 5,882 years. Been a father 473 times. You do the math.
Mr. Flint, were any of your children like you?
Immortal? No. So, in addition to wives, I've buried sons, daughters, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. You understand why I wanted to leave Earth. It has come to be one large graveyard.
This appears to be a schematic of this station. A room only a short distance from this one is indicated in that direction. Mr. Flint, I believe these symbols roughly translate as the helper's knowledge.
Yes, it says that room houses the teacher's knowledge.
The room apparently provides access to thousands of infrabubble memory bricks. Vast stores of data. Fascinating. This entire station appears to be one gigantic
Library. It can't be.
Yes. The adjacent chamber is a library access station to access what it calls the teacher's knowledge.
Teacher? Do you mean the same? The headpiece that the iMorgue used to learn everything they needed to know. They called it the Great Teacher. Spock, are you saying that this station is...
Yes. Apparently the station is the repository of all that vast knowledge.
Captain's log, stardate 6948.1. We have been aboard the Sigma Draconis space station for 2 hours. Several of the station's systems remain damaged or inoperable. Mr. Scott discovered why the station went undetected until recently. It has an advanced cloaking device which is severely damaged, possibly by a rare antilepton particle cascade which passed through the system a week ago. The research team continues to study the contents of the library. They've discovered that all of the security safeties are offline, allowing all of the data to be readily accessed. Perhaps the safeties were wiped out by the particle storm as well. Report, Spock.
Sir, we've identified a translation matrix that will allow us to read the library banks in Federation Standard. We've begun to catalog the library table of contents to allow us to choose which areas to access first.
Good. Carry on.
Captain, I've got the life support working. The system had only been reset, not damaged. It's set for iMorgue standards, which is utterly expected.
Good work, Scotty. McCoy, check the atmosphere.
Air's fine, Jim. All within human and Vulcan normal range.
Deactivate life support belts. Good work. Scotty, see the station's other systems.
Jim, you have to see this.
What is it, Bones?
Cures. Cures for everything. Surgical techniques. Complete tissue regeneration. In situ genetic resequencing. Virus programming. Induced biological renewal. It's amazing.
It is a vast storehouse, Captain, of technology centuries, if not millennia, beyond our own.
Kirk here.
Captain, The interference caused by the space station's damaged systems is increasing. The Enterprise's engines and power systems are degrading at a faster rate.
Understood. Stand by, Mr. Sulu. Crook out.
I'll see to it. Scott to engineering.
Engineering, Gabler.
Gavler, check the G2 board and the Y3 and FT circuits.
G2 shows all but life support in 120 range. Y3 and FT below 5%.
Do the K2 or K9 radiation indicators show any sign of negative gradient?
No, sir. Both are flat.
I was afraid of that. Stabilize the power as best you can, Gabler. Scott out. Captain, it's this station. Our increased use of its systems is causing the power plant to give off more radiation. It's playing havoc with the Enterprise's systems, even at this increased range.
Recommendations?
I'm beaming back to try to stabilize the engines. I'll report in as soon as I learn anything.
Very well. Proceed, Mr. Scott. Mr. Spock, continue your team's cataloging of the table of contents. We need to know the extent of what we're dealing with. I have a feeling we'll end up with some tough questions.
If this doesn't do it, we've got a devil of a problem. Alright, boys. Reset your articulation arrays. On my mark. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, mark.
All the arrays in place, Chief.
Oh, that does it. Scott the captain.
Kirk here. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
It's bad news, sir. The Enterprise's warp engines. They've been severely destabilized. That station's radiation was just too much for them.
Capabilities.
Warp drive is out. We can manage no better than 0.8 C.
Estimated time to repair.
We cannot do it where we are. We'll have to move away first.
How far?
At least 3 AUs. Then it'll be a minimum of 5 days.
Understood. Scotty, is there further risk to the ship's systems by staying in orbit of the station?
No, sir. The damage has been done. The other Enterprise systems don't seem to be susceptible to the radiation.
Very well. We need you back over here, Mr. Scott. Kirk out. Bad news, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Spock, looks like the Enterprise's warp drive is out. For a few days at least.
Then we have a problem, Captain. We have translated some of the non-medical sections of the library. There are references to metaphysics shielding, slipstream drive, trajector propulsion, the towing of black holes, intergalactic catapults, stable wormhole creation, transwarp drive, planetary cloaking fields, revival of dead stars, positronic androids, zero-point energy, dark matter propulsion. And it's all here for anybody to take it.
Incredible. It could take lifetimes to study all the knowledge here.
What a boon to the civilizations of the galaxy! All of the things that the Federation could do!
Captain, there's also weapons technology with frightening destructive power. Even the non-military technology could be used to make a civilization unstoppable.
I've seen death and destruction on Earth like no one alive. But the destructive power described here, it could be galaxy-shattering. Trillions of lives. You can't be saying you're excited by how this scientific find could be used by the Federation against its enemies.
Just the reverse, Mr. Flint.
What Mr. Spock means is that the library's contents are too powerful, even for the Federation of Starfleet. But especially too dangerous should it fall into the hands of the Klingons, Romulans, Kzinti, Orions, or even the Andorians or Tellarites.
We'll just have to safeguard the knowledge, that's all.
If only it was that simple, Lieutenant. The sheer power inherent in almost all of these new technologies, and the vast amount of it, would make the library, or any race possessing the knowledge, the target of every sapient species in the galaxy.
The problem now becomes, how do we protect it without warp drive? We can't hide it since all efforts to restore the cloak have failed.
My God. The station's information's a ticking time bomb.
Emotionally stated, Doctor, but essentially correct. This library represents a means to obtain absolute power in this galaxy.
Yes, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
I wonder who first said that.
I did.
Ship's log, stardate 6948.5. Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu reporting. The boarding party has now been aboard the station for just over 5 hours. Chief Engineer Scott has returned to the station and reports that he has repaired the reactor. The Enterprise is still limited to sublight speeds. Per Captain's orders, we have determined that the nearest Federation starship that can come tow the station from the area is the USS Hood, which at best speed is 16 hours away. We are maintaining synchronous orbit of the planet, awaiting further orders. Report.
Marine sensors show 2 ships entering the sector.
Sensors to maximum. Get me some details.
Kirk here.
Captain, extreme long-range sensors show 2 contacts. Energy signature suggests Klingon origin. Arrival time indeterminate. No further details at present.
Very well. Kirk out.
They must also have heard of the sudden appearance of a space station and come to investigate. When they get here, they will find...
They'll find a treasure trove of technology so advanced that no power in the galaxy can stand against them.
All right, Paul. You're too quiet. What's wrong?
All this technology falling into our laps without having to be discovered or invented. It feels wrong. Like getting the instructor's pad for a class with all the answers in it. It feels like cheating.
That may be so, but the 2% of the medical files we've been able to access so far will be a boon to the galaxy. Why, with the surgical transplant techniques alone, we can finally put an end to the...
Gentlemen? We have updated status on the Klingon ships. There are 2 D7 class battlecruisers, and they arrive in the system in just over 5 hours.
That soon? Aye, they're not at maximum warp. If they were to increase speed, they could be here even sooner.
We won't be able to download a fraction of the data. Their arrival here does more than upset our research timetable, Mr. Erickson.
Those savages cannot be allowed to gain access to the station. With that library, they could...
I'm sure we're all in agreement there, Mr. Flint. But the situation doesn't give us many options.
Logically, our first duty is to safeguard the library's contents from the Klingons. Secondly, we may continue to access what we can before we take any actions to secure the station.
Agreed.
Aye? What do you mean, secure?
By secure, Doctor, I refer to denying the Klingons access to the data repository by whatever means are available to us.
Right now, there are very few options.
Fighting the Klingons for possession isn't a viable option. With sublight speeds, we'd be no match against a single battlecruiser, let alone 2. We would as much as be giving the station to them with gift wrapping.
Aye, and towing it away before they'd arrived is out of the question as well. Even if we could muster the power to generate a strong enough tractor beam, we could never get it away in time without warp drive. Well, what does that leave us?
Achilletum. What is it, Mr. Flint?
He planned to destroy the station. But Captain Kirk, you can't mean that. The knowledge, the sheer loss of all...
I don't like it any more than you do. But what other choice do we have? You said it yourself. The prospect of the galaxy conquered by the Klingons wielding unstoppable technology doesn't bear thinking of.
No. No, of course not.
I'm sure we'll think of something.
Not again. It can't happen again.
What was that, Mr. Flint?
Nothing. Nothing. We must simply download as much of the most important technology as possible in the time remaining.
Agreed. Bones, You, Mr. Flint, and Erickson concentrate on recording the medical files and any other technology that would be of immediate benefit to the life forms of the galaxy. Agriculture, energy production and weather control, tectonic stabilization, planetary disaster prevention, anything. We'll get right on it.
Yes. How much we can do at least.
Spock, Scotty, work on a way to neutralize the library station. Maybe some technology in the alien databanks can be of help. I'd like options, gentlemen. Any options. But if we need to blow it up, we want to have that capability ready at a moment's notice. We'll beam over immediately. Dismissed. Let's go, Mr. Flint. If we hurry.
Of course.
Captain, Mr. Scott thinks he may be able to destabilize the station's power reactor to cause an explosion. And Mr. Flint has found a way to boost download speeds. We should be able to get 8% of the medical files before.
Excellent.
Jim, if it helps, you are making the right decision. We must eliminate the risk.
It doesn't help, but thank you, Spock. It's just that we're explorers, first and foremost. That's our mission out here among the stars. And the find of a lifetime, of 100 lifetimes in the case of Flint. And we only have scant hours to sift the sands before it all slips through our fingers. Then, blown to atoms, all that'll be left of the Sigma Draconian Empire. Just those ruins on the planet. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair.
Captain?
Just idle foolishness. But the finality of it all. If only... Spock, you once said that there were always possibilities. Give me that possibility. That's an order.
I will endeavor not to disappoint you, sir.
But in the meantime, help Scotty rig the device to destabilize the reactor. This new technique allows us to access the data so quickly now. What with all these extra researchers, we'll obtain the benevolent technology in no time.
I actually feel better, knowing that some small but significant percentage of this treasure will be saved from oblivion.
See? I told you.
Yes. Yes, you did. Still.
Mr. Flint, back on the Enterprise, you began to say something. You said, no, not again. Oh, that. It's just that throughout Earth history, there have been episodes of backsliding. One civilization would make some great discovery, and before it could be shared, it was lost. Usually when a city-state fell. Like with concrete and depth in paintings, known to ancient Rome, then lost through the Dark Ages until they were reinvented in the 1600s.
You do know your history. There were also a few times when the loss was quite considerable.
Oh, like the construction techniques of the Egyptian pyramids, or the
library at Alexandria.
Wow, of course. The Alexandrian Library.
The brainchild of Ptolemy, and continued by his son. Opened in 313 BC. It contained more than 500,000 scrolls. Texts of mathematics, astronomy, sciences, as well as poetry, dramatic plays, paintings, and personal letters.
But it was destroyed by Julius Caesar in 48 BC when he...
Yes, I remember. Such a loss.
Ptolemy was said to have wept for 10 days and nights, when he learned that his library...
That's ancient history. Here, today. Come, there's more to do. We've cataloged enough of the internal medicine files. Let's access the advanced diagnostic techniques.
Yes, of course.
Remarkable station, and it gets better. Tex here and his team have been looking into the station itself.
We found plans for the decks. They were matter fabricators, like our replicators but on a subatomic level. Scientific labs of every kind. Machine shops like we've never seen before. Even holographic environment rooms.
Sir, there are also fully appointed living facilities, and a completely automated medical bay as well. I guess for use by the station's maintainers whenever they came here.
Whoa! Amazing. Perhaps.
Mr. Eriks, report on approaching vessels.
Aye, sir. Klingon warships have increased speed. ETA to system now 52 minutes.
Farewell, Mr. Sulu. Maintain yellow alert. Kirk out. Gentlemen, we're running out of time. The Klingons will be here inside of an hour.
Captain, we should soon be able to...
Sir, I think I found something. The controls, sir. Everything's connected. The reactor control system, containment, is a null energy field the likes of which I've never dreamt of. It's the same field used in the environmental screens, which block all radiation. And it's...
Scotty, you were saying you found something?
Aye. Yes. The field can be projected. It can be used as an immobilization field. To halt our warrior friends out there. To stop them right where they are.
Are you sure, Scotty?
Oh, aye. I'm testing out in this system's asteroid belt.
Confirmed, Captain. Several D-type asteroids as large as Martian moons Phobos and Deimos are frozen in place. Remarkable.
Good, Scotty. Good work. You too. Adapt the field to encase the Klingon ships, but only if they aren't harmed. If we have time, maybe we can find more options, and then we can unfreeze them when the library's safe.
Restraint, Captain. In this situation, against a foe who would without hesitation cast your ship into the nearest sun to get what they wanted, you concern yourself with keeping them away and safe. I am impressed.
Why, thank you, Mr. Flint.
I hope your laudable scruples aren't all for naught.
Kirk here.
Lieutenant Sulu here. The two Klingon ships are just entering the system's Oort cloud, almost within sensor range of the station. Their battle sensors aren't as good as our long-range cartographic array, but they should be able to detect the station and the Enterprise any time now.
Thank you, Mr. Sulu. Place the ship on modified yellow alert.
Aye, sir.
Kirk out. Status, Mr. Scott.
The controls are very alien and sensitive. We've almost got them figured out. We just need to extend a long lobe of stasis out towards the ships. Hey, what the...
Fascinating.
What was that? I'm not sure yet.
Kirk here. What is it, Mr. Sulu?
We've just picked up an energy surge.
Sir, sensors read it as a very powerful ion propulsion energy signature coming from the station.
Understood. Scotty?
Aye, that's what I thought. Mr. Addix has picked up the station's attitude jets. I accidentally activated them. I think we have it now. Mr. Spock?
Alex, scan the Klingons now.
The Klingon ships are immobilized. No, just slow down in time. They are moving slower by a factor of 200. ETA now 5.82 days.
Very well. Stand down from yellow alert. Crook out. Gentlemen, we now have time. Scotty, I still want the remote detonator device to blow the station's reactor from the bridge of the Enterprise. The rest of you, get as much of the medical and beneficial files as possible.
Might I suggest, given the extra time, we attempt to record as many directory content lists, file headings, as we can, of all types.
But why?
I get it. With even the ideas hinted at by the file headings,
Federation researchers will be given thousands of new avenues that will accelerate research into pure science.
make it so, gentlemen.
A fine idea, Mr. Spock. I commend you for your resourcefulness. Dr. Henry Archer would be proud. He was a friend of mine, actually.
I am honored, sir. Captain, we cannot hold the Klingons indefinitely. They pose no threat in their present situation, and therefore it would be unethical to suspend them for very long.
Agreed.
Other Klingons might come if these ships are out of commission for too long. Also, we do not know the long-term effects of the alien device.
Sir, Lieutenant Carl reports that the remote destruct device has been installed on the Enterprise.
Very well. We'll leave in 3 hours. Time's almost up, Mr. Spock. Are you almost done here?
Nearly, sir. Captain, we have come across several technologies, which, while not weapons per se, could be adapted all too easily to devastating effect, such as energy dampeners, planet movers, or even the manipulation of fundamental physical parameters such as the gravitational constant or the permissivity of free space.
Even some medical technology. There's a circulatory fluid purifier beam. If used at more than, say, 60% level, would almost instantly exsanguinate a person.
Yes. Even a projected stasis field that Scotty found earlier. It alone is too much power if it fell into the wrong hands. Mr. Spock, erase all tricorders of non-medical, non-benevolent technology data.
Acknowledged. Might I also suggest that all log entries be similarly scrubbed of such data? Even passing references would be dangerous.
Make it so.
Captain, you're not going to believe what I found.
I'm getting tired of hearing that.
Sir, there are all manner of projected matter conversion rays. Several are repair beams. One of them should be able to remotely repair the Enterprise's damaged engines with a touch of a control stud.
Is it safe?
Aye. It's full of safety interlocks. I could repair the ship now if you'd like, sir.
Go ahead, Scotty. Then meet us in the station's control room.
Aye, sir. Wow! I'll say it again. What an amazing place.
It would be a shame to destroy it. If only.
Get ready for transport. We leave shortly. Kirk here. Go ahead, Enterprise.
Captain, I've been attempting to contact the USS Hood to get their updated ETA to the system.
I can't get through. All bands are clear.
I'm not even picking up normal subspace chatter.
Understood, Lieutenant. Keep trying. Contact the transporter room.
Fix the beam back to the ship.
Aye, sir.
All repairs complete, sir. The Enterprise's systems are back to 100%. Maybe a wee bit better.
Very well, Mr. Scott. That was fast. Maybe we can install that repair beam in the Enterprise. Works fast, and doesn't exaggerate its repair time estimates. What do you think, Chief Engineer Dunsel? Enterprise, energize.
Sir,
If that's supposed to be a joke, I don't think it's very funny.
Mr. Flint, what is it?
It's going to happen all over again.
What is?
Agreed, Mr. Scott. Captain, we must correlate our reactor data with the Enterprise's library computer before settling on the best method to effect the destabilization of the library's reactor. In this way, we can ensure that all the
To
systems...
destroy the library and all of the wonders it contains. Is that it?
Sir?
Mr. Spock, I am surprised at you, a man of science. Where is your sense of intellectual curiosity? Your sense of wonder at the fantastic new scientific knowledge in that library?
Now, wait a minute.
I would expect a military man to casually throw a treasure trove of knowledge into the flames due to a misplaced sense of duty. But the rest of you...
Mr. Flint, hold on a minute. That's quite all right, gentlemen. Mr. Flint has his views. I wish I didn't have to do what I must. But then if I...
This is madness.
You won't even entertain the idea of using the technology of the station itself to save it, to perhaps lower the effective mass of the structure, to make it less than that of a shuttlecraft. It could then easily be towed. You could...
Moving the station away would only postpone the problem. We're not ready for the technology within the library.
Aye, exactly.
Towing it would bring Pandora's box into the heart of the Federation. It would relieve me of responsibility and place it in the hands of the Federation Council or Starfleet Command. Would anyone here trust either bureaucracy with the power within that library? Let alone, we'd be running the risk of having it fall into enemy hands. Even you need to realize that.
I realize you've gotten your mind made up.
But Mr. Flint, surely you see that they...
I can't stand by and watch it all go up in flames. All over again. Captain's log, stardate 6949.0. The Enterprise's engines have been completely repaired by the advanced systems of the space station. Science Officer Spock and Chief Engineer Scott have just returned to the ship after having rigged the station's energy system with a device which will allow us to remotely trigger the library's destruction by destabilizing the station's energy system. Before doing that, we will unfreeze the incoming Klingon ships.
All preparations have been made, Captain.
Very well, Mr. Spock. Mr. Flint? He says he can't bear to see it destroyed. It is magnificent, isn't it?
Captain, perhaps we should...
Yes, Mr. Spock. Mr. Scott, release the Klingons.
Aye.
Sir, why are we bothering to release them now? Won't they automatically be freed when we destroy the station?
It's not clear, lad. We don't know the nature of what's holding them. If the station were gone and they were still frozen...
You mean?
The station may have set up a stable chronic hysteresis by altering the nature of space around the ships. For all we know, they may be permanently slowed down.
All conjecture aside, Mr. Scott, command the station to release them. Now.
The Klingons will be in sensor range of us within minutes.
Maximum sensor concentration on them. I wouldn't know the second.
Captain, the remote detonation circuits and engineering have been neutralized.
Confirmed, Captain. We now have no way of detonating the station.
But how?
Captain, the remote detonation circuits and engineering have been neutralized.
Confirmed, Captain. We now have no way of detonating the station.
But how?
I was just running a check on all the control circuits, and they simply weren't there anymore.
Damn odd. I don't like this. Captain, we are being held. By the Klingons? I thought they were still out of range. No, sir. From the library station. On screen. Aye, sir.
What in Flint?
Fascinating.
Yes, Captain.
What are you doing over there?
First, I used the library station's repair beams to neutralize the detonation circuits. This station cannot be destroyed.
But now it can fall into the hands of the Klingons. Are you daft, man?
Quite sane, I assure you, Engineer Scott.
But when the Klingons get here, what's to prevent them from taking it?
They'll never get close enough.
You don't intend to attack them?
Unnecessary, Captain. You see, when they arrive, this station won't be here.
Of course.
But how?
Mr. Spock, you've figured out my plan?
I believe I have a surmise. Mr. Flint intends on piloting the station out of the area.
The station-keeping jets. Aye. By using the station's ion drive, he can fly the behemoth right out of the sector.
Right out of the galaxy.
Wow. Incredible.
And by employing any of the many propulsion technologies, he can effectively...
Now, Mr. Sulu.
Aye, sir.
Surely you know that this station is impervious to your weapons.
We had to try. But what will you do? Where will you go?
Go? Not anywhere in particular. Just go. Do? I will continue my work and research. The medical technology will restore my immortality. And I'll spend my life studying and building upon all this technology.
And as Lieutenant Richmond and Tex here discovered, the station has accommodations and food creation technology that will allow him to sustain himself.
You can say it, Doctor.
Forever.
As you say, Captain. It may take almost that much time for me alone to explore the riches of this library. So many wonders. In a way, this may be my destiny. What my entire long life has been building up to, preparing me to bear the responsibility of curating such a find. To have access to such power, but not to use it. It is time.
Captain, the station's engines have started, and the Klingons are just entering their sensor range.
The Klingons are hailing us, sir.
Acknowledge, Lieutenant. Stall them.
Aye, sir.
Mr. Flint, while I don't condone your commandeering of the station, my feeling is that of all the possible outcomes, this is the most appropriate.
But Mr. Flint, Ocarin, you can't go. I still have those 1,000 questions I never got to ask you. I could learn so much from you.
You'll have to find your own answers, Paul. That is perhaps as it should be. You, like the rest of humanity, are strengthened by the pursuit of answers, not by simply having all the answers. One shouldn't have everything handed to them. Despite all the benefits there would be from the contents of this library, it would destroy you at this point in your development. Your captain is correct. He is wiser than perhaps I gave him credit for when he said humanity is meant to claw, struggle, rip the truth from the universe with its own hands.
The station is leaving communications range.
Live long and prosper, Mr. Flint.
Good luck, Mr. Flint.
Yes, I intend to do both. And thank you, Captain.
Take care of yourself, Mr. Flint. All of Earth will miss you. And me. I'll look for those answers myself. You would be proud.
Attaboy. I am proud of you, of all of humanity. I love my time on Earth. Now, I must go to the stars. This time, right now, is one of those moments when we are influencing the future. To you all, stay hungry, stay foolish.
He's gone.
Aye.
Sir, the Klingons are insisting. I have Captains Kang and Curry. Put Kang on screen.
This is Kang. What are you doing in this area, Kirk?
This is Kang. What are you doing in this area, Kirk?
I could ask you the same question. All right, we're doing research into the history of Sigma Draconis 7.
A likely story. Our science officers tell me our battlecruisers seem to have just lost more than 6 hours of subjective time. What have you done to our ships? Testing a new Federation temporal weapon?
Who, me? If I were, should I turn it on again?
What?
The Organic Peace Treaty allows us to conduct non-military missions in disputed territory, including historical research, without interference from the Klingon Empire. But why are you here, Kang?
The treaty. The Empire is interested in the nature of a strange construct reported in this system.
Reported by whom? Spies? Besides, we're detecting no evidence of a construct in this area. Perhaps your information was faulty.
Very well. Our ships will remain in the area to conduct our own non-military activities, but away from the planet until you have completed your research. End transmission.
Captain's log, stardate 6951.2. The Enterprise is en route to Starbase 23 to verify the ship repairs. Klingon battlecruisers Thanatos and Furios remain in the vicinity of Sigma Draconis 7, but they will find no trace of the library station, as Flint eliminated all traces of the construct's presence and its ion trails as he left. The field effect generated by our use of the station to delay the Klingons had much larger range than we ever imagined. Starfleet Command has informed us that the entire quadrant had been slowed down for 6.4 hours. I feel it's for the best that the station is gone without a trace.
Captain, unknown ship entering the sector. Incredible speed and sophistication. An energy beam is being directed at...
You? A Metron?
Yes, Captain. We are still interested in humanity.
You've been monitoring us.
Of course, Captain. When we last met, you showed us courage, perseverance, tolerance, and compassion.
You intervened when an alien ship attacked our outpost. You then threatened to destroy my ship if I didn't fight the captain of the Gorn ship on a deserted planet. I was finally able to fashion a makeshift cannon to stop him.
You stopped him, but did not destroy him. Since that incident, many of our kind debated whether your refusal to kill the Gorn was a ploy. Our observations of humanity here in space, on Earth, and on colony worlds have shown us that humans possess many admirable traits, but they also exhibit a great capacity for duplicity, deceit, and complex deceptions. Humans are very tricky.
My science officer would tend to agree with you.
Hence this latest test.
Test? Then you were responsible for the Iron Storm, and the cloaking device being damaged, and...
Actually, all occurred naturally. We only made it so that the station's cloaking device could not be so easily repaired in the time necessary.
You wanted to see how humankind, namely me and my crew, again, would handle this situation.
Yes, and this time, without your knowing that anyone was watching.
I can understand that. So, what do you think now? Are we still too tricky to be saved?
Oh, still very tricky. But you exhibited astonishing maturity. There is no doubt now that your people are destined for greatness.
But the Klingons, if they had gotten a hold of the station, they might have done
untold. They would have been prevented. Give us that much credit, Captain.
Humans fascinate you. Your actions show that you are, or were, a curious and tricky species in your own right. If I may, I have 1,000 questions about your people, such as
that would not be permissible. We have a prime directive of our own, as you must realize. We have debated and have decided this, the final reason for this test. There is something that you must be told.
Huh? What? It's the captain? What the? Huh? Jim?
He's back.
Aye.
Captain,
I'm fine, Spock.
the energy signature I detected before you were taken, it is identical to that
The
of...
Metrons. Yes, I talked to them.
Fascinating. The intervention of the Metrons in this situation explains a number of things.
Aye. No wonder I wasn't able to repair the cloaking device.
Too bad they didn't tell you about themselves. Think how advanced their technology must be.
Yes.
What's the matter, Paul?
Oh, I was just thinking about Flint. We'll never see him again.
Not necessarily, Lieutenant. Technology in this quadrant will likely progress to a point where we can track and eventually catch up to the station once again, though it may be a few centuries hence.
That's no way to cheer him up, Spock.
Really, Doctor?
I doubt if humanity, or any other known race in the quadrant, even the Vulcans, will be ready for the station's technology, even in a few centuries' time.
But the rate of technological progress Mr. Spock spoke of will no doubt be much accelerated given the tantalizing hints obtained by the titles of just some of the technologies we saw indexed in the station's library.
And when we are once again able to access the station, we'll have a choice to make, whether to do so or not.
Well, I'm glad I was able to look at the medical section of the library, at least briefly. There is a technique that I'm sure will lead me to a cure for the common cold.
We sure glimpsed a lot of technologies in the station's index. So many hints. Reminds me of the Alexandrian library. Mostly destroyed. Only tantalizing tables of contents, or partial scrolls remained, such as the titles of lost plays by Ovid and Euripides.
After some of the things spoken of by Flint, I believe he was Ptolemy, the creator and patron of the Alexandrian library, and was probably also his son.
No doubt. Think of it. Flint was there at Alexandria 2,300 years ago, and was powerless to stop the loss of the library. No wonder he was so opposed to the space station's destruction.
I wonder who else he was in past identities. We only know of a few. Methuselah, Merlin, Moses.
He was also Ocarin, Socrates, and the Ptolemies.
Aye. And Da Vinci, Braque, Vaslovic, and Professor Attenborough.
He was also Daly, Abramson, and someone called Lochner.
And Brahms, Paganini, and Glenn Miller.
He may also have been Reginald Pollock, and if my surmise is correct, Isaac Asimov. A study of the books Flint recently wrote correlates parametrically with that of Asimov's style by a factor of 97.3.
Wow!
That would also explain his interest in androids.
Whoever else he was, we may never know. Suffice to say that his departure is a great loss to all of humanity.
Yes, he's gone, and so much of Earth's history goes with him. A great man, to say the least.
Indeed. We shall not see his like again.
Thank you.